I know you've been waiting on this. This is Mama's apple stack cake. I'm going to show you how to make it. It is really good and just in time for the holidays, guys. All that baking that you're going to be doing for the holidays, you want to be sure to make one of these. So in my stand mixer, I have 1.5 sticks of softened butter or 3/4 cup of butter, which is the same measurement. And it's softened and it needs to be softened. And I'm going to add 1/2 cup of sugar. And I'm just going to cream that together for a few minutes. Now after that's been creamed together, it's pretty fluffy. I'm adding 2 large eggs. And going to blend that up just for a couple minutes. So I have my mixer on low and I'm going to put in 1 cup of molasses. A good trick is to grease your measuring cup with some cooking spray or some vegetable oil, and your molasses will come out much easier. I'm just going to blend that till it's all nice and smooth, and it is. Now we're ready for our dry ingredients. Now we're ready to put the all of our spices and our leavening agents into the flour. So this is 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm using White Lily all-purpose flour for this recipe. And you're going to need 1/4 teaspoon of sody, baking soda as my mommy always called it, and I'm proud to call it that too. So baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon. Y'all, my mama, this is the kind of cake that we grew up having. We didn't have a lot of desserts growing up, so for family dinners and things like that, holidays, mostly time it was we got together for holidays, there was always a stack cake, usually every year at Christmas and Thanksgiving, a stack cake. And a lot of them made them this tall. And so this recipe easily can be doubled. You can double this recipe if you want. I'm making 6 layers today. You can make 12. So it really doesn't matter, but hey, the taller the better. Just double it. And you're going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Let me get my salt. I thought I had it out, but I didn't. And that goes right in. Y'all love my little measuring spoons? These were my Aunt Patty's. These are old Tupperware, like old, probably since back in the 70s. Old, y'all still, if y'all have any of these, let me know. But look at them, they're square. They're not round, they're square. And I just adore them. And you're going to do 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. And I always do heapings, y'all, because it's kind of one of them rules when it comes to every time you measure, like any kind of spices and seasonings, do heaping teaspoons. Unless otherwise it says level teaspoon or whatever, do a heaping. Because that's what I've always done all my life, and I think it's been a good rule. And I'd heard a rule that way too. So I need 3/4 teaspoon of allspice, and I'm going to do 1/2. And this is just regular allspice. And then I'm going to do 1/4. And it doesn't matter if you get a little extra in there. It's still going to be good, y'all. So good. And I had just a little left, and I'm going to throw it in. Don't matter. Cinnamon, 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Can't leave cinnamon out. Same, I want to do 1/4 and then do 1/2. There's my 1/4. And here is my 1/2. And I'm about out of the cinnamon, so I'm going to get me some more. There we go. Alrighty. And last but not least, a teaspoon of baking powder. And it's going to go right in here. There we go. Now, y'all, it already smells so good. So yeah, growing up in Tan Yard Holler, a stack cake. Now my papa's sisters. They made, I actually had this more, I remember having this cake more from my papa's sisters than I do from my own mama, which my mama did make it. Man, they made them. We had homecomings every July, and we'd have dinner on a cemetery there in Leslie County, Kentucky, is where a lot of my ancestors, a lot of my kin, like in the past, are buried. And we would go there and have meetings, what they call meetings, on the cemetery. They'd have services, and then they'd have dinner afterwards. Well, this was something they done every year. So so my aunt Lucy, she was born in 1898. She would make she made all the stack cakes that I remember from when we had them homecomings. And she would make them about a week ahead and keep them covered. And the longer they sit, the better they get. And that's true. And they were so good. And they made them with dried apples. But they're good with applesauce. You can do with applesauce or apple butter. I'm going to do mine today with apple butter, actually. So I'll just stir this until it's all combined. And then we're going to add it to our wet ingredients. Now I want to say you're going to need a half a cup of buttermilk. So I'm going to pour that buttermilk in when I put my dry ingredients in and alternate it. And I'm going to do a half a cup. Y'all, this is a gallon of buttermilk. You can't hardly find a gallon anywhere. So when I go down home to my hometown, Whitesburg, Kentucky, we usually take coolers with us anyway on the road. And I usually get a couple gallons and bring them back home with me. So yeah, I looked out and found some gallon of buttermilk. The only thing about it, it's the fat-free or the low fat. I'd rather have the full fat. But I still use it for my cooking. When I find full fat, I still buy it. But I got me a gallon of buttermilk. So you're going to need that. So I'm going to start adding in some flour, about a cup at a time. And put it on low. And start drizzling in my buttermilk. So you want to mix it until it's all combined, but just till combined and don't overmix it. Now your oven needs to be preheated to 350 degrees. And I'm using 9-inch pans here. And I like to use Baker's Joy because it's got flour and stuff already in it. And you don't have to worry about your little cakes sticking. Because there ain't nothing worse putting all your work and all your heart in trying to bake a cake. And when you try to flip it out, it sticks. Yeah, that's just disappointing. So I use Baker's Joy because I like it. And I think it does the best. So I'm going to grease up my pans. Now you want to bake your layers about 10 to 12 minutes. Doesn't take long, so keep an eye on them. Don't overbake them, but it won't take long, about 10 to 12 minutes. Oven times vary, but just keep an eye on them. Oh, and y'all know, I just have to lick the spoon. It's so good. You get that bite of molasses in there. Oh yeah, that's the best part, y'all, is licking the spoon. So I've got my layers out. Now you're gonna know they're done when you push on them and it springs back and it starts to pull away from the edges. You know they're done. So mine took about 12 to 14 minutes. I kept checking on them. So these are done. I'm gonna let the layers cool right in the pans. All right, now the cake layers are done. Now I got about 5 layers out of this because I just got impatient and went ahead and made 5 layers, one a little thicker. I also want to say, if you don't want to do all these six, bake 6 pans full of layers, you could do 3 9-inch, just fill your batter up, 3 9-inch, and they're going to be thicker, and then you can cut it. Then you can cut them into 6 layers. If you want to do it that way, it's a little easier for you, go ahead and do that. Or you can just make it thick layered if you want. But the traditional way for stack cake is thin layers. So I'm using about 3 cups of apple butter for the filling for mine. Or you could do dried apples. If you're going to do dried apples, you're going to need about 3 cups of dried apples, 1/2 cups of sugar, 2.5 cups of water, a 1/2 teaspoon each of nutmeg, allspice, and cloves, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And you're going to combine that together and just cook it down until it's kind of thick, and let it cool. And you can use that as your filling, or you can just do about 3 cups of apple butter, which is what I'm doing. And honestly, dried apples or apple butter is good. This is homemade apple butter. I did post a video the other day. If you go under post in my page, under the posts, you can see the videos that I've done. I did crock pot apple butter. That's what I'm using. And you don't have to do 3 cups. If you want to do 4, you can do more. It doesn't really matter. You can do as much as you want. Honestly, you can. So, and you just want to spread that between the layers and spread it all the way to the edges, because my apple butter is still a little chunky. That's what I like. And my mommy loved stack cake, y'all. She really did. And this makes me think of her, because we used to make them all the time. So what I do is I let my cakes cool, and I just flip it out, and I lay them down like that. And I like to put my layers where the little holes I put the bottom of the cake up, because it helps it absorb more of the apple butter. So I'm gonna keep doing this until I get to the top, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish it off. All right, so y'all look at there. Look at that cake. Ooh, look at that, look at them layers. Now it's I usually go ahead and spread the excess that squeezes out on the outside, because I don't want the edges, I want it to soak up the edges of the cake, so it'll all be really good and moist. So honestly, this is better if it sits at least 24 hours before you eat it. And I don't put mine in the refrigerator, I leave it out. I don't like it chilled. If you like it chilled, then go ahead and put it in the fridge. But I like it room temperature, but that's the way we've always done it. And I'm taking a little bit more of my apple butter and putting around the edges, just so the cake will be good and moist. There won't be any, because sometimes the edges get a little dry when they come out the oven. So just finish it off. Like I said, with as much as you want. No rule. Ain't no rule saying you have to have this or that. And honestly, y'all, this would be beautiful. It had about 4 or 5 more layers, really tall. You could make it really tall if you want. And like I said, you could double the recipe, go ahead. But this is what we like. So I'm going to, this is all we need for us. If I make it any bigger, it won't get eaten. But my dad will like this. I want to make sure Dad gets some of it. So I'm going to let it sit a little bit, and we'll do a taste test probably maybe tomorrow, a few hours. I don't know if we can wait that long. We'll see. Well, This here feller couldn't wait on a piece, so I went ahead and cut him a piece. I just want to show you what it looks like. He's already got him a glass of cold milk.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Here we go, guys. Thank you, Lord, for this. What do you call this?
Mama's apple
Y'all,
snack
I've
cake.
smelt this cake all day.
It makes the house smell really good. He loves apple butter. He loves apples. He loves fried apples, loves any kind of apples.
Oh, wow.
It's a good daddy.
Yes, ma'am.
What's good about it? What do you taste?
Oh, the ginger.
Be a critique.
I guess the ginger.
There's no ginger in it.
Well, whatever
You're
it is.
tasting
The
the
allspice.
allspice, yeah. So what do you think?
And the apple butter. Oh, man.
Yeah. It really is a good cake. And the
Oh, it's
longer
fantastic.
it sits, the better it gets.
I got a feeling this ain't going to get much better than this.
It really does get better the longer it sits. So there's what it looks like. Y'all, it really is. It's a good sized cake, but if you want to make it taller, go ahead. They used to make them about yay tall back in the days.
Yay.
Yay tall, as Mommy always said. All right. There you go, guys. A lot of you's been waiting on me to make it, so this will take
So
you.
have I.
Yeah. This would be a really good Thanksgiving cake.
Oh, it'll be fantastic for Thanksgiving.
I suggest making it a few days, couple days before Thanksgiving, yeah, or Christmas, whatever you're going, at least a couple of days or a day. I mean, it really is good like this, but really does get better the longer it sits. And keep it covered. And
It's about gone, y'all.
yeah, won't be a piece of it left. Won't be nary a piece left. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching Mountain Cooking with Missy, where it's nothing fancy,
Just good eating.
just good eating. Bye, guys.